My name is Angela Roach, and I'm here to talk about alternative dispute resolution. I want to talk a little bit about the organizational structure of the agency because that will give you some insight as to why I'm here doing the presentation on ADR. So essentially, I am an attorney advisor at the Departmental Appeals Board, and so the reason I'm here is because the Administrative Dispute Resolution Act of 1996 actually designates the chairman of the Departmental Appeals Board as the dispute resolution specialist for the entire agency. And so if you look at the second bullet, our department serves as a leader in implementing ADR across the department and the agency. In addition to that, we actually provide a review of disputed decisions at the DAB. We also provide ADR services and training, and I'll talk a little bit about that further in the presentation. And then also I'll spend some time talking about the Interagency Sharing Neutrals program. So alternative dispute resolution is essentially a process that provides alternatives to traditional mechanisms. It doesn't necessarily take the place of the traditional process, but it is an alternative approach. It introduces a third-party neutral to help the two parties that are in dispute with whatever their dispute or conflict is. And mediation is the most widely used form of alternative dispute resolution, although there is also arbitration, and many federal agencies have an ombudsman as well to handle disputes. So mediation is essentially a facilitated negotiation. The third party is not a decision maker, and the third party simply helps the parties problem solve. So this is a definition of mediation that comes from The Promise of Mediation. It's a book written by Baruch Bush, and essentially it's a definition for transformative mediation, and essentially it is a communication model, and it allows parties that are in dispute or conflict to change the quality of their conflict interaction. So essentially the goal of the mediator, a third-party neutral, is to enable the parties to stand in the shoes of one another. So a mediator is a neutral, a confidant, an agent of reality, and a mediator is not an advocate or a lawyer, although many attorneys and lawyers participate as mediators in the Sharing Neutrals program. The mediator is not a judge or decision maker, a counselor, reporter, or an enforcer. So essentially the mediation process belongs to the parties. So we've looked at a couple of studies on the value of mediation, and so what we've determined is the process itself enables the parties to exchange information, gain clarity on the other party's perspective, as well as sometimes their own perspective in the dispute. A lot of times mediators are able to devise creative solutions to deal with the conflict or the dispute. And mediation is actually governed by the Administrative Dispute Resolution Act of 1996 and the Alternative Dispute Resolution Act of 1998. And so the discussions in mediation are confidential. And also we've determined that mediation helps parties consider the strengths and weaknesses of their own case. When to use mediation. So essentially we typically use mediation when there's a conflict between the employee and the manager, or perhaps a conflict between two employees. At the Departmental Appeals Board, we actually also mediate disputes with outside parties as well. So some of the common workplace topics that we mediate include general workplace disputes, which typically involve communication or miscommunication between employees. At the end of the performance appraisal cycle or in the mid-year, we typically see a lot of mediations that revolve around job classification, duties, and performance ratings, conduct, and work relationships. There's also a provision in the agency's EEO policy that allows the agency to offer complainants mediation in both the informal and formal process. So why use mediation? Studies that we've conducted have shown that mediation is typically faster. It costs the agency and the complainant parties less money. It's easier. It's very informal. The parties are able to kind of sit around the table and figure out exactly what's going on. Less confrontational. I think I talked before about the mediator is often able to devise very creative solutions to deal with the dispute. The parties retain control of the outcome. The third-party neutral or mediator is simply there to facilitate discussion and enable the parties to make decisions on their own. We've seen that in our surveys that Participants typically feel more satisfied with mediation as opposed to the formal process. We've determined that mediation is less likely to damage an ongoing working relationship, and a lot of times the parties who come to mediation feel like they have less to lose. Here is a list of other ADR services that we offer: consultation, conflict coaching, system design, group facilitation, and training. So the 3 courses listed above, conflict management skills, basic and advanced mediation skills, and negotiation skills, are often provided or scheduled several times throughout each fiscal year. So if you're interested in finding out more about dispute resolution, mediation, or if you yourself find yourself involved in an employee dispute or conflict at work and you think we can be of service, you can certainly contact us. Neil Kaufman is actually the division chief for the Alternative Dispute Resolution Division. His telephone number, Patrick Chapman, is the dispute resolution specialist. So this is actually our website, and if you go to www.hhs.gov/DAB/ADR, it gives you information about the services that we provide, but also it has a schedule of the courses that we offer throughout the year. And so I also wanted to talk a little bit about the Sharing Neutrals program. I'm actually the program coordinator for the Sharing Neutrals program, and what it is it is an interagency dispute resolution program where we use collateral duty mediators to provide mediation services to agencies other than their own. So if you're interested in participating in Sharing Neutrals or participating in training and becoming a mediator, you can certainly contact me. Thank you.